guys, welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. I appreciate you stopping in. My name is Sonia Siobhan. I am a certified life coach and I specialize in domestic violence, narcissistic abuse, and oppression. I am here to help you clarify your goals, identify obstacles, and come up with some solutions to help you get over those obstacles so you can move forward in your relationships. All right, so today we're going to be talking about manipulation tactics that these abusers and narcissists use in relationships to keep you in bondage and oppressed, to keep them having control over you. You know, that's their main goal. That's what one of the things I've been talking about these past few days in the videos. If you haven't watched the videos, I would suggest you go back and watch them, because this will give you a little bit more clarity and insight on what we've been talking about. So yesterday I did a video on 6 common techniques that manipulators use to manipulate you in relationships. And like I say all the time, when I say relationships, it doesn't necessarily mean just a romantic relationship. I'm speaking of all relationships that you have in your life. It could be parents, it could be siblings, cousins, co-workers, you know, the dude next door, the girl next door. So just keep that in mind. It's not strictly just related to an intimate relationship. Okay, so we talked about 6 common techniques that manipulators use to manipulate you in relationships. So I'm just going to name the 6 that we talked about yesterday. I'm not going to go through them and break them down, and then I'll just get into the other 7, because there's actually 7 more that I'm going to be talking about today. So the ones we discussed yesterday was gaslighting, projection, isolation, positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, and punishment. Okay, so today we're moving on. Number 7, nagging. This manipulation is where one person continuously urges another to do something despite the other person not wanting to do it at that time or wanting to do it at all. But they will continue to nag and nag and nag and nag and until you give in and do it, just to shut them up or just to gain some peace. Because a lot of times they'll nag and nag and nag, and sometimes, you know, they will even withhold things from you as they're nagging. You know, they may take your phone from you, or, you know, say, well, I'm not going to give you this, or we're not going to do that until you do what I want you to do. And you'll do it just so that you can get what it is that you wanted out of the situation. It's all manipulation and it's all wrong. And if anybody is using this tactic against you, speak up about it. Speak up about it. Don't let people cross your boundaries. That's something else I've talked about extensively. You have to set boundaries so people know exactly what it is that they can do and can't do when it comes to you. And if they cross those boundaries, react. Okay? Usually nagging, that satisfies them and not you. And if there's like a or else attached to it, like you gonna do this or else I'm not gonna do this, or I'm gonna do this to you, which is one of the things I was saying about they may withhold things from you, or, you know, just try to place some level of control with it in order for them to get you to do exactly what it is that they want you to do. So just be careful. Don't let people put demands on you or give you no or else's, you know, because at the end of the day, you're in control of you. Nobody should be controlling you. I don't care if you're married. Marriage is not about control. It's about compromise, you know, and it's about respect. So nobody should be giving you no ultimatums or no or else's or making no demands upon you, okay? Number 8, yelling. Now, this is a manipulation tactic because it makes you feel uncomfortable. And sometimes it can make you be afraid. It can scare you into complying what it is that they want from you. And sometimes people will use yelling as a form of humiliation, which is another manipulation tactic, and that's something that happened to me in an abusive relationship that I was in. This particular person would catch me out in public or stalk me, which is really what it was, and show up at places where I would be and completely humiliate me by yelling at me and calling me all out of my name and just completely downgrading me in public, and to get me to go with them. And I would never give in because I already knew what going with them would lead to. But it was just a form of manipulation, a control tactic, a way to try to get what they wanted. It didn't work on me because it just didn't work on me. But a lot of people will give in to it because they feel like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I just want them to shut up. Okay, come on, let's go. And will give in to whatever it is that they're demanding from you because they're causing a scene, and you're so embarrassed that you'll just go along with it just to stop the public shame in the moment. Sometimes people will yell to try to gain sympathy, especially when they know that they're wrong in a situation. Yelling would be their way out because now you're no longer focused on whatever it is that you confronted the person about originally. Now you're focused on them yelling and making a scene, and it's their way out. It's their way out. Now I don't have to discuss what it is that I was confronted about. I'ma just yell my way out of it, and now that's gonna become the focus of discussion. Okay, so watch out for that. Watch out for nagging. Watch out for yelling. The silent treatment. Now everybody should be hip to this form of manipulation. This is a technique, and it is a form of manipulation of love withdrawal. It usually comes from the silent treatment. Will only work on individuals that have some type of emotional connection to each other, because you wouldn't care much if a stranger gave you this silent treatment, right? So you would only care if this is somebody that you cared about. So it's a form of withdrawing their love from you. This is how we look at it. This is how we view it. And so in our heads, in order for us to gain that love back, to get that attention back, to get you to back talking to me, then, some people will tend to give in and to whatever it is that the person wants, just to gain that sense of love and acceptance once again. So be aware of that. That's a big one, because that happens a lot in relationships, and I know that it happened a lot. It happened a lot in my life growing up. My own father would use this manipulation tactic against me all the time. And it would just leave me so baffled and confused because I didn't even know what it is that he wanted from me. He would just give me the silent treatment for days and for weeks at a time, and would just be completely withdrawn from me, and would always leave me, in a state of, I'll do whatever. What do you need from me? Like, I'll do whatever just for you to start talking back to me, which is very cruel. It's very cruel to do someone like that, and especially just leaving them, in a state of confusion and not knowing why you're not even talking to me. But sometimes in relationships, the person will relay it to you as to why they're giving you the silent treatment, or you may even know because it was something that was previously discussed. But if you are in a situation like this and your significant other or any relationship in your life, and this person is giving you the silent treatment, don't give in. Don't give in, especially if you haven't done anything wrong. Even if you have done something wrong, still don't give in. Don't give in, because it's very childish, for one. And as adults, we should all have some level of communication skills to where if something is bothering you and you need something from a specific individual, you should be able to communicate that in a mature way without giving someone the silent treatment. And it really affects the person that this is being displayed upon, because you feel powerless, you feel invisible, you feel like you don't exist, and which is how I often felt in those situations growing up. So if you're in a situation like that, in a relationship like that, I'm telling you, that is toxic. That is toxic. And like I've said so many times before, if you're dealing with somebody and they're displaying any of these traits and characteristics, 9 times out of 10, they have some level of narcissism in them. Okay. And even if they're not a narcissist, they're displaying abusive traits. All of this is a form of abuse. Whether it's emotional, it could be verbal, mentally. This is abuse. They may not even be putting their hands on you, but if they are putting their hands on you, then that's a no-brainer, deuces. But if any of the other forms of abuse are taking place, that's toxicity, and you don't need to be in that situation anyway. So remove yourself. And that's one of the reasons why I come on here and make these videos, to give people knowledge, because if you know better, you can do better. And if you're able to recognize some of these traits and manipulation tactics and things that these narcissists and abusive people use to keep you oppressed and in bondage, then you can start to make changes in your life. Because take your power back. Take your power back, because usually these people that are doing these things are insecure people, and they're doing it because it gives them the sense of power. It puts them on a pedestal, and they want to keep you feeling devalued, low self-esteem, no self-worth, so they can keep controlling you. But once you mess around and find out that you that stuff, that you that ish, and you take your power back, then it will expose them. It will expose them for, the insecure person that they really are. Okay? So, moving on. Intimidation. That's a big one. Now, this one can be either covert or overt. And I talked about covertness and overtness in a previous video. This manipulation, this gets you to bend to their will out of fear. Now, the overt aspect of it, they will display that by bullying you with anger and rage, or physical violence, like literally putting their hands on you. So because you already know how they gonna come, then you already are already in a submissive state, because you don't want to get bullied, you don't want to get beat up, you don't want to get yelled at and talked too crazy, you don't want to deal with any of the violence. So you'll automatically give in and just do whatever it is that they need from you, so that you don't have to experience any of these things. And an overt person will usually do this, like I was kind of talking about the humiliation. They'll humiliate you in public. They'll do it around family and friends, and pretty much dare anybody to step in. Okay? Which is, covert is the complete opposite. It's intimidation. However, they put on a persona in public and around others as being a loving and caring person, but really they're the complete opposite behind closed doors. They're abusive behind doors. At home, you could do something in public and he may give you a look like, yeah, when we get home, I'm gonna get in that. You know what I'm saying? And they're calculated. They have sinister ways of inflicting punishment upon you. So, the covert ones are really the most dangerous ones, because all of their anger and sinister tactics are hidden, and they are kept behind doors. And nobody that knows you guys as a couple know this person to be that way, and would be totally shocked if they were to find out all of the mean and cruel and sinister things that he was actually doing to you behind closed doors. Okay, so if you're in a relationship and any of these characteristics are showing up, whether it's overt or covert, distinguish the one that you may be dealing with. Either one, though, you shouldn't be dealing with it, and you need to be trying to figure out an exit plan ASAP. Okay, it's all abuse. It's all abuse, and it's all forms of manipulation. All right. The next one would be traumatic one trial learning. Now, this is a singular experience that we encounter, singular experiences that we encounter that shape our behavior in the future, most likely traumatizing, and serves as a deterrent from acting a certain way or doing certain acts. Now, I'm pretty sure that most of us can identify with this form of manipulation. This could have shown up in a way in your childhood. If you were physically abused as a child, you learn not to do certain things because you got a whooping for it. Now, I'm not suggesting that whoopings is physical abuse. However, the law seems to think differently. But I grew up getting whoopings all of my life, and I don't look back at that as I was physically abused. But it's a fine line between it, though. Some parents have crossed the lines in whoopings and disciplining their children. They take it too far. And sometimes those experiences could be considered traumatic one trial learning, because if you got beat with a belt buckle because you did a specific thing, then you most likely not gonna do that thing again. And how that shows up in relationships is the same thing. If you have an abusive partner, whatever type of abuse it is, whether it's narcissistic abuse, verbal, mental, physically, any type of abuse, and you do a certain thing and you get an outlandish reaction from your partner, he may smack you or call you up out your name in front of other people, or it could really be anything, but that will mold you into not doing that very thing again, because you already know the reaction that this person is going to give you, and you didn't like it the last time, so you don't want that to happen again. Okay, traumatic one trial learning, that's exactly what that is. And it's a form of manipulation, intimidation, and it can show up with physical abuse, torture, corporal punishment, verbal abuse, explosive anger. And when somebody displays these things upon you, you're going to do everything in your power so that you don't get treated like that again. And that's just in our nature. That's just who we are as human beings. Okay, and it's geared to make you not do a specific thing in the future. Manipulation of facts. Now this one, it's as simple as this is a manipulation technique that uses facts in their own favor. They could cherry pick the facts, only point out specific part of the facts to make their side of the story look better, and leave out the meat of really what's going on. They can take facts out of context, manipulate the facts to make them look good or get their point across. Victim blaming, withholding vital information, hiding key details can affect how you digest certain situations. So Let me see if I can give you an example of that. If you have a partner that's cheating, if you know that your partner is cheating or you suspect that they may be cheating, and you've found some sort of evidence that they are cheating, but and you question them about it, they're only going to give you specific facts. They're going to leave out a whole bunch of it, the meat of it that would incriminate them, and only feed you what it is that they want you to know. And that's just one. That's just one example of what manipulation of facts is. It could also show up in a form of if you're being abused in a relationship, like physically abused, and you and your partner are at a holiday dinner at the family's house. You have some marks and scars on your body, maybe a black eye or something, and they're questioning as to what happened to you, why you got a black eye, this, that, and the other. And your partner immediately steps in and gives some false narrative of what really happened. He may give some of the facts, but not all of them. He may leave out the meat of it. So just be aware of that. If your partner is feeding you all types of facts that you know not to be true, and he's leaving things out, red flag, red flag. Do not be a victim. Do not be a victim. I'm just very passionate about these topics because like I explained in the intro of my video, these are things that I've gone through in my own life. I have been abused. I've been verbally abused. I've been mentally abused, physically, emotionally, every type of abuse that you can name. I've gone through it. I've been spiritually abused, all of it. And I'm just passionate about it. I just don't want to see you go through the same thing. And see, when I was going through it, nobody was in my ear telling me, I didn't have YouTube and all of these things that are out nowadays, that you can go to and get you some type of advice or encouragement and tools and things to use. I didn't have all of that. I had to go through it. I had to walk through it and figure it out on my own. And if I can help you, or somebody that it may not be you. You may know somebody that's going through these things, and you can give them some of this helpful information to help them remove themselves from any toxic situations, then kudos. That's exactly what I want. If I only help one person, with one of these videos, that is enough for me. But don't sit back and allow yourself to be a victim, especially when you know better. You know better because you're watching these videos, right? And I'm giving you all the tools and the knowledge, the traits and the characteristics to look out for. So when they show up in your life, you know that means it's time to react. And when I say react, I mean pack your stuff or theirs and remove yourself. That's exactly what I mean, okay? So, last but not least, mind control and mind games. That's a huge one because, people, this one shows up a lot in relationships. And we may think that it's not that big of a deal. Everybody play mind games. Everybody play games. Well, no, everybody don't. And just because they're doing it don't mean that you have to do it. And just because they're accepting it doesn't mean that you have to. Okay? So if a person is trying to brainwash you, remove everything that you have known or practiced your entire life, the values and the morals that you grew up on, that your parents taught you, and now you're in this relationship and this particular person is now trying to erase all of that and give you their rendition of how you should think, feel, and act. Red flag. They're trying to reform your thoughts so that they can have power and control over you. Um, and it's just a coercive technique for them to sway you into thinking the way that they want you to think. Um, so once again, manipulation, that's all it is. It's manipulation and a form of power and control, and the only reason anybody would be displaying any of these traits or characteristics in your relationship is to control you, is to keep you oppressed and in bondage, so that you are completely dependent on them, physically, mentally, and emotionally. And I just want you to recognize when these are things are happening, so you can identify that, okay, this is she said, if they showing me this, then this, that. Identify it. And don't just identify it and then just live with it and deal with it. Identify it and react. Okay? So, all right, guys, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope everybody has a blessed rest of their day. And thank you for tuning in.